Concrete is the main pillar of any projects. It has huge strength. It gives the structural stability and everything. But when you are pouring the concrete, it's a loosened concrete or the fresh concrete. It has no strength. But how it has to hold that one? That's why the formwork. The formwork is most essential part for the structural integrity or ensuring the quality of the concrete. In today's video, I will discuss what to check whenever we are checking the formwork at the site. So stay tuned until the end to get the full information about the formwork checking or the formwork checklist. And if you are new in my channel, kindly subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get immediate notifications. So let's start the formwork checklist. These are the standard format we are using anywhere in the projects. And this is standard things and general things I will discuss, but you need to develop your checklist as per the requirement of your projects or as per the requirement of your client or the consultant. This is just the guidelines. Follow this one and implement in your projects. First things here, you need to write down the client name, consultant name, then description, then checklist is the formwork checklist, issue, date, revision, form number. This is the quality control team will provide you the issue date, and revision, because every company has their quality policy, and according to the quality policy, this issue and date and everything's changed, and that is fixed. It cannot be changed wherever we are receiving from the higher management or the quality department. Then what will be write down? The date, in which date we are inspecting, the contract number, what is the contract, what is the contact number, location of work, name of the representative who are representative or who are responsible for the work, and drawings in the specification reference number. What is the drawings we should check? The GFC drawing and the shop drawing, whatever we need to mention here. Then serial number, activities record control, verification and approval status by ticked by representative, record of observation of information. If we observe anything, we should record here, and then our remarks. First things, we need to check the setting out. How we check? Are the setting lines available from the established profile? Now, this is very crucial. For any project, whenever we are starting, we have the benchmark. In the benchmark, what we have? The reduce level as well as the easting or northing or the coordinate. Maybe 2 or 3 or 4, we have the benchmark. And from that benchmark, we are making the temporary benchmark. And this temporary benchmark or the temporary reference line or the grid line, we are taking the measurement we are measuring at the site or inspecting at the site. So first thing, we need to check whether this grid line or the reference line or the setting line established from the profile or whatever the permanent benchmark is there. So these things you need to be very careful whenever we are checking any formwork. We need to check from the established reference line. If not, then there will be chances that it will not is exact in the same places. Then if the setting outlines have been provided by the engineers, have local profiles means established to enable tradesmen to check their setting out at work. The same things, the permanent benchmark is there from their temporary grid line, temporary benchmark. We need to establish, and from that we need to check. Then kickers. Then the formwork, sometimes we need to do the kickers. So if there is a kickers also, we need to check the correct size, width and height. We need to check whenever we are checking the formwork, whether the kicker is in the place or not. If the kicker is not in the place, that the formwork will not be in the place. So we need to check the kicker. Then with the approved water bar, if required and correctly fixed against movement. Now, if we are having a water retaining structure, we need to provide the water bar in the joint. So we are, whether we are providing the water bar or not, that also we need to focus on it. Check the starter bar cover against the kicker face is correct. The starter bar cover that we need to check reached the line and level before the concrete is placed and after concrete. So what is the line and level? And that line or level from the reference grid line. Why you need to check it? Is to ensuring that kicker is in place so that my formwork will be in the place. The next is formworks. What would you need to check first? The sufficient time given for checking the formwork, preferably in daylight. That means we need to check the formwork in the daylight. And It's not that the we will not check in the night time, but preferably we will check it in the daytime and sufficient time. It's not that coming and going. No, you need to finalize that what is the time required, and that much time you need to be provided at the site in order to check the formwork properly. Then is the formwork on an approved design, perfect alignment, and to the true shape and dimension as shown in the drawing. Now we need to check the dimension. Suppose you are checking the formwork for the slab, and slab dimension is 100 meter by 90 meter. We need to check whether this dimension is followed or not, or whether this formwork as per the dimension, or what is the label. That also we need to check. Then is the support scaffold to an approved design. Now, if any projects, we need to design the scaffolding. Without the scaffold design, we cannot make the formwork or the formwork design. But sometimes the worker is doing or the carpenter is doing, no, this is a wrong practice. Any formwork, we need to do the design from the designer, and it should be get it approved from the client or the consultant. And whenever we have that approved design or approved drawing, then only we can start the formwork. And according to that drawing, we need to check. Here is the same thing. Is the formwork or an approved design, perfect alignment to the true shape and dimension as shown in the drawings. Then is the support scaffold to an approved design. So whatever the scaffold support is there, that is mentioned in the design and on the drawing, that is in the site or not, we need to check. Are mold oil or release agent approved for use? Now, mold release agent we are using so that whenever we are stripping out the formwork, there will be no impression on the concrete. So whatever the mold release agent we need to use, that we need to get it approved from the client or consultant well in advance. And we need to check that one whether the same mold release agent has been used at site or not. Is the formwork prepared for the correct grade of finish of fact face, etc. So whatever the mention in the design document or the drawing, that we need to check. What is the plywood thickness, what is the plywood design, what is the scaffold, what is the coupler design, everything will be in the design that we need to check. Then necessary arrangement provided for chamfer made. So if there is any chamfer, we need to check that one chamfer is made or not. Then are the retarding agent is approved or what? The whatever the retarding agent are using in the concrete, that we need to check whether it is approved or not, because it will affect the stripping time. So that's why we need to check whether this is approved one or not. Then is the formwork free from leaping and protected from grout loss? So there will be no grout loss, that we need to be very ensure that there will be no gap, so that there will be no grout loss. Are blockouts well started, correctly positioned, and easy to strike, and with the correct clearance to the reinforcement? So we need to check the blocks as there, and there is the adequate clearance, so that whenever we're striking out or the stripping out, there will be no problem for that one. That also we need to ensure, because if we are not ensuring that how to stripping out that one, it can be happen after completing the concrete work, we cannot strip the formwork. This is a very difficult, and it is happening so many times. So we need to find out that thing also, and we need to check whenever we are checking at the site. Then are the fixing of the cast in conduits, anchor bolts, etc. secure and checked against the engineer's drawings for correct types, location, and all bolt threads protected, greased prior to concrete. That means if there are any conduit bolt, that we need to check whether it is there or not, and it is properly fixed, fastened, and there is a covered with grease, and so that there will be no concreting on that one. So that one also we need to check whenever we are checking the formwork. Then have the correct space been used on the rebar, and this checked before the shutter is closed. So we need to check the correct rebar and the shape, so that we can close the shutter in case it is the formwork of column or the shear wall. So that before that we need to check. So these things are already checked or not, you need to finalize whenever we are doing that formwork checking. If it is a shear wall, lip to wall, column, or the vertical element, that you need to ensure that the reinforcement has been checked. Are the blowholes in the bottom of the blockouts or remove entrapped air to ensure good concrete placement? So you need to check, is there any blowhole, pinholes, or possibilities there or not? That is also we need to check whenever we are doing the shuttering check or the formwork check. Is the shutter tight to the kicker in order to prevent grout loss? Now we need to check as per the requirement or as per the design whether it is tied properly or not, so that whenever we are doing the concrete there will be no slurry leakage. So if the slurry is leakage, concrete can be honeycombing and the desired strength will not be developed. So that thing also you need to check. Are access ports provided for inspection? Blowing out concrete placing, is there as a carpenter on standby or close up? So access point also to be ensuring for the working. So that also you need to check, is there any access point or not for the concreting work? And that is also to be ensure whether the adequate standby carpenter is available or not. Why? If there is anything happening during the concreting, so immediately it can be rectified. So it is to be ensured that standby carpenter is also available at the site. Then is the pour height defined and or joint filler securely fixed? What will be the pouring height? What will be the pouring grade? That also need to be finalized before, because it will decide the formwork stability and formwork fixing or joint fillers. So these things you need to be checking care that the pouring out has been decided and as approved, and accordingly the joint fillers is securely fixed. Then, is the expansion joint material secured to the face of the existing structure where the concrete pour is to take place? Now, we know that the expansion joint is there in any structure. So, if there is any expansion joint, do we provide the requirement of the expansion joint? That we need to be ensuring when we are checking the formwork. Then are the chamfers of the beam soffits correct and in accordance with the drawings? Is shutter construction as per design? If there is any chamfer, the beam lane, beam top level, beam bottom level, slab top level, slab bottom level, that also we need to ensure. How we need to ensure? That from the temporary permanent benchmark, from the temporary benchmark, this RL to be transferred, and from that RL we need to check whether that are in the adequate level or not. Then have the props start during the final alignment check have been adequately secured? Are all timbers and the focus correctly positioned and packed correctly, wedges secured to allow adjustment as necessary? Our ties are in tightened, correct types and size. Now we need to check all the props and everything are in position and securely tightened. The joint of the formwork has been securely filled so that there will be no slurry loss. So everything we need to check. Then have all stop end location and been agreed and approved. Now, where to stop the concrete? Then if we want to concrete in a one go, fine. Then we need to check stop at the end point. But if you want to stop in the intermediate, is that point is agreed or not? And accordingly, the formwork has been stopped there or not? That you need to check whenever we are checking the formwork. Now this all be checked formwork. Now we need to striking out the formwork. But after checking that also, we sometimes we need to check from the third party itself. The third party who are authorized or who are doing the design, they will come and they will inspect the formwork and they will give the approval. That the formwork is as per the requirement or as per the design, so that the concrete can be poured. So after your checking, the third party also to be checked. Then formwork striking of formwork also necessary, and it is a part of formwork checking. Has the curing time elapsed? That means what is the curing time? That curing time to be given, and it is mentioned that what is the stripping time? That also to be ensured. Are there any adjustment required for low temperature, and have you agreed that is this adjustment with the engineer? If there is any low temperature or even different types of cement are using, what is the stripping time? That it should be agreed with the engineer. That means client or the consultant. And after the agreement or after that period only, we need can stripping out the formwork. Then is the proceeding agreed of the prop removal? Now we need to remove the props. Now those things has been agreed by the consultant or the client, or they have given the approval. So striking of formwork also an activity, and you need to submit the inspection request to the consultant client, and they will come and check and they will give the approval for the striking of the props. Then has the reprop method for any suspended slab and its removal had been agreed. That means after removing the formwork, we are giving the reprops, it's called the repropping. So that method is agreed. That how many times we need to provide the repropping, that is also agreed by the client also consultant. Not or we are giving that also or not, that also we need to check. Ensuring adequate care will be taken in using the start and or props informally and the correct sequence. Now, what will be the sequence of removal? We cannot remove at a go. So what will be the sequence? The plywood will be first, or then the props, then the beams. What, how it can be removed? That sequence also to be agreed by the expert who are designing this formwork, and it should be approved by the client and concern. And the same sequence you need to follow at the site in avoid to any injuries during the striking of the formwork. Is the method agreed for start backfilling is to take place against the structure if partially complete or specified requirement. That is also everything and anything, whatever you need to get it approved from the client and the concern. Is the result available from the concrete test? Because the striking time is depend on the concrete strength. So whatever the concrete strength agreed by the client or constant consultant for the formwork removal, that concrete strength is available with you or not. If it is available and if it is meeting the criteria, show them and they will give you the approval. Then these are the everything, and along with this you need to check with the safety team so that they will also ensure the proper safety of the formwork. I hope you enjoy this video and you find this information is useful. Again, it is the guidelines, not that everything to be followed, or you need to incorporate your project's requirement into this, and you need to prepare your own checklist of the formwork as per your requirement. And if you find this information is useful, kindly subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that everyone, whenever I upload a new video, you will get immediate notifications. And I'm waiting for your valuable comments, and from your valuable comments everybody will be benefited. And if you want to know anything about constructions and the quality control, please let me know. I will come with more content like this. And thank you once again for watching me.